This is one of my favorite books.
QLeap English podcast.
Welcome back, English learners. You're listening to QLeap English, the place where we read great books, talk about them in everyday conversations, and somehow your English gets better along the way. I'm Mr. Q.
And I'm Naomi. Hi, everyone. We're so glad you're here.
Naomi, let me ask you something. Have you ever stayed quiet in an English conversation because you were afraid of making a mistake?
That's been my whole life. I've said I'll speak later so many times, and later never comes.
And what are you afraid will happen if you speak and make a mistake?
That people will think I'm not good enough, that I'll look foolish, that I'll feel exposed.
Exposed. That's a powerful word. And that feeling, that fear of being seen as imperfect, that's exactly what today's book is about.
What book?
It's called Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. She's a researcher who spent years studying vulnerability, courage, and shame.
Vulnerability. That sounds like weakness.
That's what most people think, but Brown's research shows the opposite. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's actually the birthplace of courage.
So being willing to make mistakes in English is courage?
Yes. By the end of this episode, you'll see that every time you speak English, even with mistakes, you're not being weak. You're being brave.
I really want to believe that. Let's go.
Naomi, have you ever heard of Theodore Roosevelt?
The old U.S. president.
Yes, he gave a famous speech in 1910, and there's one part that Brené Brown talks about again and again.
What does it say?
It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena.
The arena?
The arena is where the fight happens, where you try, fail, get up, and try again. In English, the arena is the conversation, the meeting, the moment you open your mouth.
And the critic?
The critic is the person standing outside the arena, watching, pointing out your mistakes. They've never tried. They've never risked looking foolish.
So I've been listening to the critic inside my head?
Yes, and that critic is loud. Your accent is weird. You used the wrong word. Everyone thinks you're stupid.
That voice is so mean.
But here's what Brené Brown says. The critic is not in the arena. You are, and the credit belongs to you.
The credit belongs to me.
Yes, not for being perfect, for showing up, for daring greatly.
I've never thought of it that way. I've only ever looked at my mistakes.
Many learners do. They compare themselves to native speakers. They think, I'll never be as good as them. But that's not the point.
What is the point?
The point is to get into the arena, to try, to speak, to connect, even if it's messy.
So my English doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be present?
Yes, and that takes vulnerability. Brené Brown defines vulnerability as uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure.
Uncertainty? You don't know if you'll say it right. Risk? You might be judged. Emotional exposure. People see your imperfect self.
Exactly. And most of us try to avoid that feeling. We stay quiet. We wait until we're ready. But here's the problem.
What?
You never feel ready because vulnerability never goes away. Every time you speak English in front of others, there's uncertainty. There's risk. That's just part of learning.
So I can't wait until I'm not vulnerable. I have to be vulnerable and speak at the same time.
Yes, and that's what courage looks like. Not the absence of fear, but feeling the fear and speaking anyway.
I've been waiting for the fear to disappear, but maybe it never will.
And that's okay. Brown's research shows that the most wholehearted people, the ones who live fully and connect deeply, are not the ones who avoid vulnerability. They're the ones who embrace it.
Can I tell you a story?
Please.
A friend of mine, Carlos, moved to an English-speaking country 2 years ago. His English was not great, but he went to every social event. He made mistakes all the time. People corrected him. Sometimes they laughed. That sounds hard. It was, but he kept going. And now his English is not perfect, but he has more friends than anyone I know because people love his courage.
He's in the arena every day.
Yes, and I've been hiding outside the arena, waiting for my English to be perfect.
And how's that working?
Not great. My English hasn't improved much, and I'm still scared.
That's the hidden cost of avoiding vulnerability. You stay safe, but you also stay stuck.
So what do I do?
You start small. You speak one sentence. You let yourself be seen. You make a mistake, and you notice the world didn't end.
But what if someone does judge me?
Then they're not in the arena. They're in the stands, and the credit belongs to you for trying.
That feels empowering.
It is, because you're no longer giving your power to the critics. You're taking it back.
Okay, I want to try. Tomorrow in my team meeting, I'll say one sentence, even if I'm not sure.
That's daring greatly. And remember, Brené Brown says, you are worthy of connection, even when you're imperfect.
Even with my accent?
Even with your accent.
Even when I forget words?
Especially then.
I've been waiting for permission to be imperfect. Maybe I can give that permission to myself.
That's the most important permission you'll ever give. So here's something tiny we can both try this week.
I'm ready.
This week, put yourself in the arena one time. Say one sentence in English in a situation where you normally stay quiet. A meeting, a coffee shop, a phone call. One sentence.
Just one?
Just one. Your only goal is to show up, not to be perfect, not to impress anyone, just to speak.
What if I make a mistake?
Then you still succeeded, because your goal was to show up, not to be perfect.
Okay, I know exactly where I'll do it. Tomorrow's team meeting, I'll say one idea.
That's beautiful. And after you say it, notice what happens. Usually, the world keeps turning, and you feel a little braver.
I hope so.
And if you miss a day, just try the next day. The arena is always open.
The arena is always open. I like that. Mr. Q, before we finish, let's talk about some words from today. Not like a test. Just let's sit with them.
I love that. Words are little anchors for big ideas.
First word, vulnerability.
Vulnerability is the feeling of uncertainty, risk, or emotional exposure. It's that feeling when you're about to speak and your heart beats faster.
We said vulnerability is not weakness. It's the birthplace of courage.
Yes. Example. Speaking English in front of others requires vulnerability, but that vulnerability is what helps you grow.
Next, courage.
Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway.
The credit belongs to the person in the arena. That's courage.
Example. It took courage to say that sentence, even though I made a mistake.
Okay, next, arena.
The arena is the place where you try, fail, and try again. In English, the arena is any conversation where you speak.
Get into the arena. Don't stay in the stands.
Example. Every time I speak English at work, I'm stepping into the arena.
Next, critic.
A critic is someone who judges or points out mistakes, often from outside the arena.
Don't listen to the critic who has never tried.
Example. The critic in my head says I'm not good enough, but I'm learning to ignore that voice.
Next, wholehearted.
Wholehearted means living fully, with courage and connection. Brené Brown's research is about wholehearted living.
Wholehearted people embrace vulnerability. They don't hide.
Example. I want to be a wholehearted English speaker. Not perfect, but present.
And last one, worthy.
Worthy means deserving of something. In this case, deserving of connection and respect.
You are worthy of being heard, even when your English is not perfect.
Yes. Example. Your ideas are worthy. Don't let a few mistakes stop you from sharing them.
Okay, let me say them. Vulnerability, courage, arena, critic, wholehearted, worthy.
6 words. 6 steps into the arena.
I feel braver already.
That's the courage growing. So here's what we learned today. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's the birthplace of courage. The critic stays in the stands, but the credit belongs to you for stepping into the arena.
And our challenge this week? One sentence in a situation where you normally stay quiet. One sentence. That's daring greatly.
However you showed up today, listening to this whole episode, that's already a win.
Yes, be kind to yourself. You are worthy of connection, even when you're imperfect.
If you want to go deeper into daring greatly, we have a 15-minute extended version on our Patreon with more stories and a courage worksheet. Link below.
Next time, we're reading a book about, well, let's just say it's about obstacles and how they can actually become the path.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to that one.
Me too.
Until then, take care of your English.
And take care of yourself.
Keep leaping.